Hey, future officers. It's February 7th, 2025, and, well, we're back with another deep dive into current affairs for all you UPSC aspirants.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so this is part one of three for today's news.
Okay.
And we try to cover a lot, so some of this might be a bit of a revision for you guys.
Repetition is key for this exam, right?
Right, exactly. So today we're going to be looking at India's creative economy and its potential for growth.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. And then we'll be looking at a few crucial Supreme Court judgments on the rights of the accused.
Oh, okay.
And then, believe it or not, we'll be venturing into space.
Space.
To see how technology can help tackle food security challenges.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so buckle up, because some of the connections we uncovered today are pretty surprising.
Looking forward to it.
All right, let's jump right in. Okay,
Yeah.
First up, let's talk about this whole India's creative economy thing.
Okay.
You might have heard our Prime Minister talk about it, its role in achieving a $5 trillion economy.
I have, yeah.
Now, I know creative economy might sound a bit vague.
Yeah, a little.
But trust me, it's a concept with real economic weight.
So how is it defined?
Well, the UN Conference on Trade and Development, or UNCTAD,
Okay.
they define it as activities that use creativity and intellectual capital to create goods and services.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the cool thing is this includes both tangible products like books and handicrafts, and intangible ones like software or architectural designs.
So it's a pretty broad spectrum then.
Yeah. We're talking about everything from Bollywood and music to software development and even traditional crafts.
Wow, that's a diverse sector.
Exactly. And when you look at the numbers, you really start to grasp its significance.
Okay, what kind of numbers are we talking?
Well, globally, the creative economy contributes a whopping 3% of GDP.
3%. Wow.
And it generates over $2 trillion in revenue annually.
That's a lot of money.
It is. It is. And in 2019 alone, India exported almost $121 billion worth of creative goods and services.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And I imagine it also creates a lot of jobs, right?
You would have to.
Yeah. Well, the Asian Development Bank estimates that around 8% of India's workforce is employed in the creative economy,
Okay.
which, makes it a potential powerhouse for generating employment and driving economic growth.
Makes sense, especially with India's young and vibrant population.
Exactly. Now, here's where it gets interesting for us UPSC aspirants.
Okay, I'm listening.
How does this all tie into sustainable development?
That's a good question.
Yeah, well, the creative economy actually promotes many of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs.
Oh, okay.
For instance, it fosters gender equality by providing opportunities for women, entrepreneurs, and artists.
Right.
And it directly contributes to economic growth.
Which aligns with SDG 8. Yeah.
Exactly. And these are all areas that you'll find prominently featured in the UPSC syllabus, so it's important to understand how they connect.
Absolutely. Those connections are key.
So it's not just about economic growth for the sake of growth, but about inclusive and sustainable growth that benefits everyone.
Yeah, a more holistic approach.
Exactly. That's a point worth remembering for the exam.
I'll make a note of that.
Now, okay, but there's another angle to this, right?
What's that?
The whole soft power aspect.
Ah, I see.
Is this where the idea of Bollywood diplomacy comes in?
You could definitely say that.
Yeah.
India's rich cultural heritage, from music and dance to cinema and literature, can be incredibly powerful tools for shaping global perceptions.
Yeah.
It transcends borders and builds bridges between cultures.
Like how Bollywood movies and Indian music have gained popularity worldwide.
Exactly. They're not just forms of entertainment. They're ambassadors of Indian culture and values.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
All right, let's shift our focus now to a recent Supreme Court ruling.
Okay.
That's especially relevant for those of you aspiring to be lawyers or civil servants.
Right.
It's the Vihan Kumar versus State of Haryana case. And it deals with a fundamental aspect of our legal system, the rights of the accused.
Ah, that's important.
It is. And this case has set a significant precedent.
Oh.
The Supreme Court has now made it mandatory for the police to inform an individual of the grounds for their arrest at the time of the arrest.
At the time of arrest.
Yeah. Failure to do so renders the arrest unlawful.
So if the police arrest you without telling you why, they're breaking the law.
That's exactly right.
Wow, that's a huge win for individual rights.
It is. It is. The court emphasized that this is not just a procedural formality.
Right.
Informing the accused of the reasons for their arrest is a fundamental right.
Which articles protect this right?
Protected under Articles 21 and 22 of the Indian Constitution.
Okay.
Article 21 guarantees the right to life and personal liberty, while Article 22 specifically mandates that every arrested person must be informed of the grounds for their arrest without delay.
That's pretty clear-cut.
Yeah, so does this mean that if someone is arrested without being informed of the reasons they automatically get bail?
Well, it's not automatic, but it can certainly be grounds for bail, even if there are statutory restrictions in place.
Okay.
The court's message is clear. Informing the accused is non-negotiable and cannot be violated under any circumstances.
And this isn't just a standalone judgment, is it?
I was about to ask that.
The Supreme Court has referred to previous cases to reinforce this principle.
Which cases, for example?
Well, they cited cases like Pankaj Bansal versus Union of India,
Right.
where the court ruled that the grounds for arrest must be provided in writing, even in cases under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or UAPA.
ABPA.
And they also drew from the Prabir Prakayastha versus State case, which emphatically stated that communicating the grounds for arrest is sacrosanct and cannot be compromised.
So it's a well-established principle now.
Exactly. And, it really underscores how crucial it is for law enforcement agencies to follow due process and respect individual rights.
It does.
It's a reminder that our legal system is built on a foundation of fairness and justice. Now, are you ready for a complete change of scenery?
I'm game. What's next?
This time, we're venturing into space.
Space. Interesting.
Yeah, we're going to explore how satellites are playing a vital role in addressing one of humanity's biggest challenges, food security.
Okay, I'm curious.
Well, a recent report by the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO.
The FAO, right?
Yeah, titled Leveraging Space Technology for Agricultural Development and Food Security, highlights the incredible potential of space technology to revolutionize how we grow and manage our food supply.
That's fascinating.
It is. And what's interesting is that the FAO collaborated with the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, or IPA, on this report.
The IPA.
Yeah, which suggests a potential connection between space technology, agriculture, and the pharmaceutical industry.
That's interesting, a connection I wouldn't have thought of.
Right. Something that could definitely come up in the UPSC exam.
Good point.
But let's get back to the basics. How exactly are satellites helping farmers on the ground?
Yeah, good question.
Well, think of satellites as our eyes in the sky,
Okay.
constantly monitoring the Earth's surface and providing us with valuable data.
I see.
And different types of satellite technologies play a role.
Like what?
Well, for example, optical satellites can capture high-resolution images of crops, allowing us to assess their health, identify areas affected by pests or diseases, and even estimate yields.
So it's like having a real-time view of what's happening in the fields.
Exactly. Even from hundreds of kilometers above the Earth.
That's pretty amazing.
And it's not just about optical imagery.
Oh.
We also have synthetic aperture radar, or SAR.
SAR.
Yeah, which can penetrate cloud cover, allowing us to monitor crops and land conditions, even in adverse weather.
So it works even when it's cloudy.
Exactly. And then there's LiDAR, which uses laser pulses to create detailed three-dimensional maps of the Earth's surface.
LiDAR.
Yeah, providing valuable insights into topography, soil erosion, and even the density of vegetation.
Wow, it sounds almost futuristic.
It does, doesn't it?
Right.
But it's happening right now, and it's helping farmers make informed decisions about their crops.
That's incredible. Are there any other satellite technologies being used in agriculture?
Oh, absolutely. We also have GNSS, or Global Navigation Satellite Systems, which provide precise location data.
GNSS.
Yeah, and this is crucial for precision farming techniques, where farmers can optimize their use of fertilizers, pesticides, and water based on the specific needs of different parts of their fields.
So very targeted interventions.
Exactly. It's really mind-boggling how technology is transforming agriculture.
It is. Are there any challenges in integrating these technologies into the agricultural sector, though?
Of course, there are always challenges when it comes to adopting new technologies.
Right.
Well, the FAO report outlines challenges and opportunities across the entire space sector value chain, from developing and launching satellites,
Upstream.
yeah, to processing and managing the vast amounts of data they generate.
Upstream.
Exactly, to developing and implementing practical applications for farmers. You got it. And each segment faces its own hurdles, but the potential benefits are immense.
It sounds like it.
It is a dynamic field that UPSC aspirants should be following closely.
Definitely.
Now, let's take a quick detour from our deep dive.
A detour.
Yeah, let's do a rapid-fire round of other important developments that you should be aware of.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with those headlines.
All right, first up, the Prime Minister chaired a meeting of the WAVES Advisory Board.
WAVE.
Yeah, it stands for World Audio Visual Entertainment Summit.
Okay.
And it's all about establishing India as a global hub for the entertainment industry.
Interesting.
It ties in nicely with our discussion about the creative economy.
It does, yeah.
While there are challenges to overcome, like protecting intellectual property rights and navigating market access barriers, the potential for growth is enormous.
It sounds like it.
Okay, now shifting gears to something completely different. Potash mining in Punjab.
Potash mine.
Yeah, this is all about reducing India's dependence on imports and boosting domestic production, a key aspect of the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative.
Right, self-reliance.
Exactly. The Home Minister also made a statement about left-wing extremism, or LWE.
LW.
Yeah, setting a goal to completely eradicate it by March 31st, 2026.
That's an ambitious target.
It is. It is. And finally, some good news on the economic front. A recent report suggests that India's pharmaceutical exports could reach a staggering $350 billion by 2047.
Wow, $350 billion.
That's right, a major boost for our economy.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got a lot more ground to cover in the next two parts of this deep dive. We'll be exploring topics like BIMSTEC, Mission Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0, Namibia PMHAY, PMYUVA 2.0, the Moran Gunjal Irrigation Project, the Netsarum Corridor, and even some private members' bills.
Sounds like a packed agenda.
It is. We'll unpack these topics in detail, so stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
All right, that wraps up part one of our deep dive. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the next two parts. See you soon.
See ya. Welcome back to part two of our deep dive into the latest current affairs for all you dedicated UPSC aspirants.
All right, let's jump back into the action. Remember that report we touched on about India's pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah, the one projecting $350 billion in exports by 2047.
That's the one. That figure really caught my attention.
It's a pretty impressive number.
$350 billion.
Yeah.
That's an incredible leap. What are the driving forces behind such an ambitious projection?
Well, there are several megatrends at play that are shaping this transformation. One major factor is the growing global trend of localization.
Localization.
Yeah, countries are increasingly looking to secure their own pharmaceutical supply chains, reducing dependence on a single source.
Oh, I see.
And India's Make in India initiative aligns perfectly with this trend, attracting investments and boosting domestic production capabilities.
So we're not just aiming to meet our own needs, but also positioning ourselves as a reliable global supplier.
Exactly. And it's not just about quantity, quality plays an equally crucial role.
Right, of course.
India is making significant strides in research and development, adhering to stringent international quality standards, and shifting its focus from generics to innovative products.
So moving up the value chain.
Precisely. This transition is key to enhancing export value and establishing India as a hub for pharmaceutical innovation.
That makes sense. Innovation is the key to staying ahead of the curve in any industry.
Absolutely.
But what specific areas are we focusing on to achieve this ambitious goal?
The report highlights several promising areas. One key area is active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, the biologically active components of drugs that produce the desired therapeutic effects.
Okay.
Currently, China dominates the API export market. However, recent policies like the U.S. Biosecure Act are creating challenges for them.
Interesting.
India, with its cost advantages and a skilled workforce, is well positioned to capture a significant share of this market.
Right, APIs. So essentially, we're talking about producing the key ingredients for medicines which are in high demand globally. What other areas are ripe with opportunity?
Another exciting area is biosimilars.
Biosimilars, okay.
These are medicines that are highly similar to complex biologic drugs, which are produced using living organisms.
I see.
Biosimilars offer a more affordable alternative to these often expensive treatments, making healthcare more accessible.
That makes sense.
While India currently holds a small share of the global biosimilars market, estimated to be worth $30 billion, we're rapidly gaining ground with initiatives like the National Biopharma Mission and the expansion of Genome Valley in Telangana.
Genome Valley. That sounds like a hub for cutting-edge research.
It certainly is. It's a thriving ecosystem for biotechnology and pharmaceutical research and development, attracting top talent and fostering innovation.
Sounds impressive.
And finally, let's not forget about vaccines. India has a long and proud history of vaccine production, playing a critical role in global immunization efforts.
Right.
Our focus on producing affordable vaccines has, at times, limited our reach into high-income markets, but that's set to change. By 2047, the aim is to significantly increase India's global vaccine market share, reaching 8%.
That's an ambitious goal. but it seems like we have the infrastructure and the expertise to make it happen.
I think so too.
So to sum it up, India's pharmaceutical industry is poised for a remarkable transformation, driven by a potent mix of innovation, quality enhancement, and a strategic focus on key growth areas.
Precisely. And this transformation has the potential to not only boost our economy, but also to improve healthcare access globally.
Now let's turn our attention to a different but equally important topic: internal security. The Home Minister recently reiterated the government's commitment to eradicating left-wing extremism, also known as LWE or Naxalism, by March 31, 2026. This is a complex issue with roots in socioeconomic disparities and historical grievances.
It's crucial to understand the context here. LWE emerged from the Naxalbari uprising in West Bengal back in 1967. It's an ideology advocating for armed struggle to overthrow the state and establish a communist society.
And has this movement spread beyond West Bengal?
Yes, it has, particularly in the so-called Red Corridor, which covers several states, including Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, and Kerala Chhattisgarh is currently the most affected state.
So what strategies are being implemented to address this challenge?
The government has adopted a multi-pronged approach that combines security measures with developmental initiatives. On the security front, we've seen a substantial increase in spending, with expenditure in LWE-affected states nearly tripling.
Wow, that's a significant increase.
There's also been a focus on strengthening police stations through the Special Infrastructure Scheme, or SIS.
So the focus is on enhancing the capabilities of law enforcement agencies to effectively combat this threat.
Exactly. Alongside this, there have been several major offensive operations like Operation Green Hunt, Operation Octopus, Operation Double Bull, and Operation Chakbanda aimed at disrupting LWE activities.
Those operation names sound pretty intense.
They do, don't they?
But it's not just about military action, is it?
No, it's not. The developmental aspect is equally crucial. Over the past decade, significant progress has been made in building infrastructure in these areas, including over 14,000 kilometers of roads.
That's a lot of roads.
It is 216 Eklavya model residential schools, or EMRS, have been approved to provide quality education to tribal children.
Okay.
And the Ministry of Home Affairs is closely monitoring the Aspirational Districts program in 35 LWE-affected districts, aiming to bridge developmental gaps.
It sounds like a comprehensive strategy that combines a firm security response with targeted efforts to improve socioeconomic conditions in these regions.
That's the overall objective. There's also a focus on rehabilitation, offering legal assistance, employment opportunities, education, and healthcare services to those who choose to surrender and reintegrate into mainstream society.
That's a positive step toward addressing the root causes of this complex issue. Now let's shift our focus to a topic that's close to the heart of many UPSC aspirants: agriculture. We've discussed how space technology is being used for crop monitoring, but what about irrigation? Water is the lifeblood of agriculture, but it can also be a source of conflict. The National Tiger Conservation Authority, or NTCA, recently raised concerns about the Moran-Ganjal irrigation project in Madhya Pradesh.
This project involves the construction of 2 dams on the Moran and Ganjal rivers, aiming to enhance irrigation in several districts of Madhya Pradesh. However, the NTCA has issued warnings about the potential social and environmental consequences of this project.
What are some of the specific concerns that have been raised?
One major concern is the potential displacement of a significant number of families, including many tribal families.
Oh, it's not good.
The project could also lead to the loss of a vast number of trees, impacting the local ecosystem.
And what about the impact on wildlife, especially considering the NTCA's involvement?
That's perhaps the most significant concern. The construction of these dams could severely disrupt a vital tiger corridor connecting the Satpura and Melghat tiger reserves. This poses a serious threat to these endangered animals, further fragmenting their habitat and increasing their vulnerability.
That's a serious issue.
The project area is also home to other important wildlife species, including leopards, wolves, wild dogs, and hyenas, all of whom would be affected.
It seems we have a classic case of development versus conservation, where the potential benefits of the project need to be carefully weighed against its potential costs to the environment and local communities. It highlights the need for sustainable development that takes into account social, economic, and environmental factors.
Absolutely. Finding a balance between development and conservation is crucial. It's about meeting our present needs without compromising the needs of future generations.
Okay, let's switch gears one last time and explore an important development in international relations. Recently, we saw a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, As part of this agreement, Israel has agreed to withdraw its forces from the Netzarim corridor.
This corridor is a strategically significant strip of land that essentially divides the Gaza Strip, controlling crucial access points between the north and south.
So it's a bit of a choke point impacting the movement of people and goods within Gaza.
Exactly. By controlling the Netzarim corridor, Israel could effectively restrict movement within the Gaza Strip.
I see. And are there other corridors in this region that are similarly significant?
Yes, there's the Philadelphia corridor, which runs along the border between Egypt and the Gaza Strip, and the Rafah corridor, the only crossing point between Egypt and Gaza that is not under Israel's control.
Right, so these corridors play a crucial role in the dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Understanding their significance is essential for analyzing the movement of people and goods in the region and the complexities of the peace process.
Absolutely. These corridors often become flashpoints for tension and conflict, and any changes in their status can have significant implications for the region's stability and the prospects for a lasting peace.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive, from the intricacies of India's pharmaceutical ambitions to the challenges of left-wing extremism and the complexities of international relations.
It's a lot of information to process, but remember, making connections between these seemingly diverse topics is crucial for succeeding in the UPSC exam. It's about understanding the bigger picture and how different events and trends are interconnected.
That's a great point. Now, before we dive into the final part of our deep dives, we have a quick message for you, our dedicated listeners. If you're finding this deep dive helpful in your UPSC journey, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful analysis of current affairs. We'll be back soon with the final part of our deep dive into today's most important developments.
Until then, keep those minds sharp and those UPSC preparations going strong.
Welcome back. We're wrapping up our deep dive into current affairs for February 7th, 2025, with something a little different.
Okay.
It might not always grab the headlines, but it's essential for understanding how our democracy functions.
I'm intrigued. What is it?
Private members' bills.
Ah, those are interesting.
Yeah, I have to admit, this is one area where I need a little refresher.
Happy to help.
Can you break it down for us? What exactly is a private member's bill?
Well, in essence, a private member's bill is a legislative proposal introduced by a member of parliament who isn't a part of the ruling government.
Okay.
It could be an elected or nominated MP, but the key is they're not ministers.
So it's a way for individual MPs to bring their own ideas and concerns to the forefront, even if those issues aren't on the government's immediate agenda.
Precisely. It allows them to champion causes they're passionate about, represent the specific needs of their constituencies, or offer alternative solutions to existing challenges.
I see.
It's a testament to the democratic principle that every member of parliament has a voice in the legislative process.
Okay, that makes sense. So if an MP wants to introduce a private member's bill, what's the process involved?
Well, first, they have to draft the bill themselves, which involves conducting thorough research, consulting with experts, and ensuring the proposed legislation is well-crafted and addresses a relevant issue. Then they have to give 1 month's notice before introducing it in the House.
Okay, and then what happens? Once it's introduced, does it go through the same debate and voting process as any other bill?
It does, yes. But it faces a more challenging path.
How so?
Well, in the Lok Sabha, private members' bills are usually allotted time on Fridays, and only for a couple of hours.
Oh, so very limited time.
Yes, and the same goes for the Rajya Sabha, but only on alternate Fridays.
I see. And I imagine these bills don't always get a lot of support from the ruling party, right?
That's true. Historically, private members' bills have a low success rate. In fact, only a handful have ever been enacted into law in India.
Really?
Yes, with the last one dating back to 1970.
Wow, that's quite a while ago. So why even bother? If it's so difficult to get a private member's bill passed, what's the point?
That's a valid question. While the chances of a private member's bill becoming law are slim, it remains a valuable tool for several reasons.
Okay, like what?
First, it allows MPs to raise awareness about crucial issues, putting pressure on the government to acknowledge and address those concerns.
Right.
Even if a bill doesn't pass, it can spark public debate and force the government to respond.
So it's a way to hold the government accountable and ensure a broader range of voices and perspectives are represented in the legislative process.
Exactly. It's also an opportunity for MPs to demonstrate their expertise and commitment to their constituents.
That makes sense.
For opposition parties, it's a platform to present alternative policy proposals and challenge the government's agenda.
Okay, so even though they're not often successful, private members' bills play a vital role in our democracy.
Absolutely. By fostering debate, promoting transparency, and representing diverse viewpoints.
That's a great point. It reminds us that democracy is about more than just elections. It's about continuous engagement and participation in the governance of our country.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into current affairs for February 7th, 2025. We've explored everything from India's economic potential and legal precedents to the use of space technology in agriculture and the complexities of internal security and international relations. We even delved into the nuances of our legislative process with private members' bills.
We covered a lot of ground
We
today.
did. It's been a whirlwind tour, but I hope you've gained some valuable insights that will aid you in your UPSC journey.
I'm sure they have.
Remember, this is just the beginning. The world is constantly evolving, presenting us with new challenges and opportunities every day. Stay curious, stay informed, and never stop learning. Before we sign off, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder. With all these advancements and challenges, what do you envision for India's future? What role will India play on the global stage in the years to come? Think about it, and until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those UPSC preparations going strong.
Best of luck with your preparations.
Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.
Oh.
Until next time, happy studying.